I wonder if humans are the only living creatures that ever feel hollow inside. I don't understand how my body can be full of everything bodies are full of. Bones and muscles and bloods and organs. Yet my chest sometimes feels vacant, as if someone could scream into my mouth and it would echo inside of me. Today we will be talking about Regretting You by Colleen Hoover. Obviously the movie just came out for this, so I was racing to finish it before seeing the movie. A couple of years ago I used to be like a Colleen Hoover, I don't want to say stan, but like if I was in a slump, I would pick up a Colleen Hoover book and I would read it in a night and I'd love it. Or I'd hate it. Low-key, Layla is like one of the worst books I've ever read, and that was written by her. There's just a lot of controversy around her, which I think was well deserved. I'm not like too deep in it, but I think it was probably valid criticism. I kind of stopped reading her books, and then I saw Regretting You was becoming a movie with McKenna Grace, and I was like, oh, I want to see that so much. And because I owned the book, I was like, I'm just gonna read it. This is like literally one of her best books. Like, I'll say it. The only other book I've read by her that I think is better than Regretting You is Reminders of Him, which is also being turned into a movie. But today we're talking about Regretting You and why I think this one is worth the read. But little disclaimer, I do understand if you are not wanting to support her, fine by me. I understand she is drenched in controversy, and her books do kind of receive fair criticism. But back to Regretting You, it is the hot topic of the moment because of the movie, so I thought I'd give you a little review. So Regretting You is dual POV between Morgan, the mother, and Clara, the 16-year-old daughter. Morgan got pregnant with Clara when she herself was 16, so she is very, let's say, overprotective and doesn't want Clara making the same mistakes that she did. I think this little description on the back, this line, says everything you need to know. It says, while struggling to rebuild everything that crashed around them, Morgan finds comfort in the last person she expects to, and Clara turns to the one boy she's been forbidden to see. So we kind of have two parallel stories going on, and I really liked them. I think overall the plot was just very compelling and entertaining, even if somewhat unbelievable at times. Like, sitting here now, do I think that any of the things in this book would happen? I mean, some of them, yeah, but the more unbelievable ones, no, not at all. But when I was reading the book, I was like, oh yeah, that makes total sense. Yeah, that happened. Yeah, 100%. I'm with you, Colleen. And I kind of think that's what makes these books so entertaining, is that like she can convince me of anything. Like, I fully believe everything that's happening in this book. We deal with a lot of themes of like first loves and mistakes you make in your life that you don't regret, but you can acknowledge are mistakes. But at its core, it's really less about a love story, even though there is obviously love going on. It's a romance. I think at its core, it's more about a relationship between a mother and a daughter. Like, Clara and Morgan's relationship is what is holding this book together, and I think that that is what makes it the strongest Colleen Hoover book, in my opinion. Like, Morgan just keeps everything together, and she is such a strong woman, and Clara just can't see that because of her own grief and, you know, rebellious tendencies. There's also like a lot of themes about not giving up on your dreams, or like being optimistic to pursue your dreams no matter your age. Clara is a very optimistic person who has really big dreams, and Morgan is someone who never really dreamt because she became a housewife, a mother, before she even had time to have dreams and have aspirations. So I think this book is also like begging you to like go after those dreams, even if they are a little unrealistic or unattainable. I think Clara and Miller's love story is very cute. It's very like first love, high school, and I loved it. But I was actually completely shocked to find myself more invested with Morgan and what Morgan was doing. Maybe it's because I'm getting older. I'm not that old, but I was just very invested in Morgan's story, and I think it was because she was going through so much, but she also maintained such like control of herself and what she wanted, and I just found it inspiring. Overall, I give this a 4.5 stars because I think that obviously there are places where we could have some improvements, but I really enjoyed it, and I think that all the little details Colleen Hoover does so well, like the watermelon Jolly Ranchers, the color orange, the promposal, they were all done so well. They were all subtle details, but they made the story feel real, and I connected to it so much. Now for my thoughts on the movie. Overall, I was going in with very low expectations because I did really enjoy this book, but I remember the It Ends With Us movie. We all remember the It Ends With Us movie, and that was a shame That was a disaster of a movie on and off screen. And so when Regretting You was becoming a movie, I was like, okay, like I have like very low hopes and expectations for it. But surprisingly, overall, I think it was a pretty solid adaptation. I think that they merged scenes and cut other scenes very well. Like they chose well on what to cut for the movie and how to consolidate things to make the movie more fast-paced than the book was. But there is one thing that I'm so upset about, and that's the promposal. I'm gonna try to say this so that I'm not spoiling anything, but if you've read the book or watched the movie, you know the promposal scene. And let me just tell you, when I read it in the book, I thought it was like the best thing I've ever like seen in my head. Like when I was reading, I was like, this is beautiful. It made me tear up. I thought it was so impactful, and like it was so interesting to just think back on all the other scenes that were related to it. And then when it happened in the movie, I was so underwhelmed. I think a big part of that is because in the book, a major plot point for Clara and Miller is that they are working on a student film together. And through this film, they kind of get to know each other more. They spend more quality time together. In the movie, they don't work on it together, and this film kind of becomes a forgotten plot point because that plot point is so monumental to this promposal moment. When we didn't build up them working on this film together, we did not have this big moment that we had in the book. And I think that was a real shame, and that made me really sad. So for that, probably give the movie 4 stars, maybe even 3.5, because I also think some things were rushed with Morgan's storyline as well in the movie. Not bad stories. I really enjoyed the book, and I had a good time at the movie. So if you're thinking about reading Regretting You, it only took me 2 days to read because it was just very, easy read for me. So if you've read Regretting You, let me know down below what you thought of it. If you've seen the movie, let me know, because I think the movie was pretty good. I don't know, like it felt like a good movie to watch. And with that, I will see you next week, or else you'll regret it. That was a really bad pun. I don't know. See you next week.